our chapter nutrition, we already discussed about autotrophic nutrition in our previous classes. What is meant by autotrophic nutrition? The nutrition in which the organisms prepare their own food materials. Such nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. Then what is another type of nutrition? That is heterotrophic nutrition. So in today's our class, we are going to discuss about heterotrophic nutrition. Here, what is meant by heterotrophic nutrition? The nutrition in which organisms depends on other organisms for their food. Such type of nutrition is called heterotrophic nutrition. So here, the organisms cannot prepare their own food materials like plants. So that organisms depend on various food materials in their surroundings. Such organisms are called heterotrophs. Here, different types of heterotrophs are present. All the heterotrophs depends on different varieties of food materials. Based on the type of food materials and how they acquire the food materials, the heterotrophic nutrition is categorized into three types. One is saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and holozoic nutrition. So here heterotrophic nutrition is mainly divided into three types. One is saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and holozoic nutrition. Now let us go through each of the nutrition in detailed manner. Now let us come to the saprophytic nutrition. Here the organisms in this type of nutrition, organisms depend on dead and decaying substances. They depend on rotten food substances. They depend on dead plants and animals. And here the saprophytes, which depend on dead and decaying substances, they break down the food materials outside their body. How do they break down their food materials outside their body? Generally, if you find any dead body which is there on the earth, these organisms, saprophytic organisms, attack the dead bodies first and then they secrete some chemical substances onto the dead bodies, and these chemical substances are nothing but enzymes that break down the body of the dead organism and make it into simple substance, that is in the form of liquid form they prepare, and then they absorb that liquid form of simple substance which is broken down by the enzymes. And that organisms, examples if you see, the bread mold. Generally we can see on the spoiled bread, and also yeast, mushrooms and even some type of bacteria also act as a saprophyte and they perform saprophytic nutrition. The second type of heterotrophic nutrition is parasitic nutrition. So here in this type of nutrition, the organisms get their nutrients from the plants and animals. How do they get their food materials from the plants and animals? Here the organisms live on or inside the body of host organism or the organism on which they depend. Here the organism on which they depend are called as a host, and on the host the organism which depends is called as a parasite. The meaning for the parasite is which lives on other and get their nutrients. And here the parasite is nothing but the organism which lives on or inside the body of living organism. Either it may be a plant or it may be an animal. And coming to the host, the organism, the parasite on which it lives, that organism is called as a host organism. Here in this type of nutrition, parasite get all the nutrients which are essential for the survival of the parasite. And here in this process, the parasite may cause some diseases or they may leads to the death of the host organism also. And some organisms live on the host organisms. Such organisms are called as exoparasites, and the organism which live inside the host organism called as endoparasites. And coming to the examples for the parasitic organisms, lice. Generally in our hair we find these lice. So it comes under exoparasite. And leeches. So if you see, the leeches suck the blood of organisms that enter into the water. These leeches lives in water, and whenever a buffalo or a cow enters into the water, they suck the blood of the organism. So it is also an exoparasite. And coming to tapeworm and plasmodium, these two lives inside the body of organism. That's why they are called as endoparasites. Then coming to the cuscuta. Cuscuta is a plant parasite. Here it is very important. What is a plant parasite? Cuscuta. Cuscuta. So generally, as we studied in our earlier classes, plants are autotrophic organisms, but this is a plant which is not a autotrophic organism. It is a parasitic organism. Now let us see how this cuscuta obtain its nutrients from the host organism. Now let us see how this cuscuta obtain its nutrients from the host plant. So in the topic parasitic nutrition in cuscuta. Actually this cuscuta is a plant parasite. Plant parasite, and it is a leafless plant. Leafless. The leaves are modified to scales. So no leaves, and it is a twinning species. So it twins around the host plant, a supporting plant. It searches for the supporting plant, and it twins, it forms like a spiral around the host plant. So it is called as a twinning species. It belongs to the genus Cuscuta. Actually the word Cuscuta commonly called dodder plant. What is the common name for Cuscuta? Dodder plant. It belongs to the genus Cuscuta, and it belongs to the family Convolvulaceae family. Which family? Convolvulaceae family. And it is commonly called morning glory family. Its common name is morning glory family, and it belongs to the family biological word that is Convolvulaceae family. And here in this genus Cuscuta, nearly 170 twinning species of plants are present. 170 species are present, and out of that no chlorophyll in the plants. So chlorophyll is absent in these plants except one species. So out of 170 species, the species called Cuscuta reflexa, what it is? Cuscuta reflexa contains small amount of chlorophyll, remaining all the plants, genus Cuscuta plants do not have chlorophyll. So they cannot prepare their own food materials. They depend on other plants for their food materials. And here these Cuscuta plants or dodder plants commonly seen in tropical and temperate regions of the world. Understand? So they generally observed or seen in tropical and temperate regions of the world. Dodder or Cuscuta seed germinates. First it develops an anchoring root. And then it develops a stem. This stem, first it develops like a spiral structure, okay, a spring-like structure. And till it gets a host plant, it develops like a spring. And then after it finds the host plant, it twins around the host plant. And after twinning around the host plant, it develops some root-like structures. Called haustoria. What it is? Haustoria. This is the main root. It developed during germination. After it twins around the host plant, it develops some small root-like structures. And these root-like structures will penetrate into the host plant. These root-like structures will penetrate into the host plant, and then from the host plant they get the nutrients like water and food materials. After finding the host plant by the stem, it obtain nutrients from the xylem and phloem tissues, and the main root will disintegrate. And then if you see the stem is very slender and string like, that means like a thread. So thread like structure, and that spiral around the host plant, and that color, if you see, they may be yellow or orange or brown or pinkish in color. The stem may be in these colors. And then coming to the flowers of this plant, they are like nodule like clusters. Nodule like clusters means they are in the form of groups, very small flowers which of colors white or yellow colored flowers. These flowers are arranged in the form of clusters and having bell shaped petals. So all the petals which give the appearance of the flower as a bell shape. Now let us observe the dodder plant, how it twins around the host plant, and we will observe how the stem is there and how the flowers appeared. And the third type of nutrition is holozoic nutrition. Here in this type of nutrition, organisms break down the food materials inside their body. They take the solid or liquid food into their body, and inside the body they break down the food materials. So to break down the food materials they require enzymes, and these enzymes also produced inside the body. Here in the previous type of nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, we have discussed that enzymes are released onto the surface of the dead bodies, means outside the body of organism. Here the enzymes are released inside the body of organism and digest the food materials. And here the examples for the holozoic nutrition is unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Today's in our topic we will discuss about the holozoic nutrition in amoeba, in paramecium, and also in human beings. Understand? So in these three organisms, how the digestion process takes place or how holozoic nutrition takes place, let us discuss. And here in all these, whether unicellular or multicellular organisms, the type of food materials they require is different. The way how they acquire the food materials is different. So based on these two different types of materials and different types of obtaining food materials, the organisms have different types of digestive systems. Now let us discuss about first the holozoic nutrition in amoeba, and then paramecium, and then human being. Now let us go through holozoic nutrition in amoeba. It is an unicellular organism. It doesn't have any specific shape. That means it has no shape. Understand? And here it acquires its food materials by its entire body surface. As it is a single celled organism, it has no specific structure to take the food materials in and to digest the food. And here by its entire body surface it obtains its food materials into its body. How do it take the food into its body? Here whenever it finds the food material around its body, first it develops some finger-like projections. It develops some finger-like projections called pseudopodia. What is meant by pseudopodia? We already studied in our earlier classes about amoeba and pseudopodia. Pseudo means false, podia means feet. So they develop false feet wherever they get the food materials. Here around the food materials it develops the pseudopodia, and that pseudopodia encloses the food material and that forms a food vacuole. And regarding this, we will observe in a picture, and in that picture we can see how the pseudopodia forms around the food material and how it forms the food vacuole. And here, after formation of food vacuole, inside the food vacuole, food will be present, and in that food vacuole, enzymes will be produced. So the enzymes will break down that food materials. That's why enzymes are called digestive enzymes. And these enzymes will break down the food materials and leads to the digestion of the food in food vacuole. After digestion of food in the food vacuole, the digested food will be released into the entire cell, and undigested material will be sent out from the body. And regarding this, we will observe the picture now. Understand? See that picture. In this picture, the food material, and around the food material we will find the pseudopodia develops a food vacuole around the food, and in that food vacuole enzymes will be released, and that enzymes helps to digest the food. Digested food will be diffused into the entire body of amoeba, and undigested material which is left over will be sent out from the body. In such a manner, the digestion of the food occurs in amoeba inside the body. That's why we can say the process of digestion in amoeba is holozoic nutrition. Now let us see how paramecium performs its nutrition. Now holozoic nutrition in paramecium. As we see in the amoeba, it is also an unicellular organism, but amoeba does not have any specific shape, but here the paramecium have a specific shape. And here also it takes its food materials through a pore called as a oral groove. Here through a region it takes its food materials. That region is called as a oral groove. So whenever it finds the food materials around its body, through the cilia it moves that food materials towards the oral groove. It reaches the body and forms a food vacuole inside the body. And in this food vacuole, as usual, we already know in the case of amoeba. So here inside the food vacuole, the enzymes will be released, and that enzymes will digest the food, and the digested food will be absorbed into the body, and the undigested material will comes out through this anal pore. Through this anal pore, the waste materials will comes out. Here, in the case of amoeba and paramecium, if you observe, amoeba does not have any specific shape. It has a specific shape. There, amoeba takes the food materials by entire body surface. But here, a specific region is present to take the food into the body. That is oral groove and cytostome. Understand? And here, a specific place is there to send the waste materials outside. That is called as anal pore. In such a way, paramecium digests its food materials inside their body and utilize the digested food and send out the waste materials which are formed in the food vacuole. Understand? This is about holozoic nutrition in paramecium. Now let us see the nutrition process in human beings. As we know that we are multicellular organisms, we have many organs in our body and we have different systems in our body. So here we can see a complex digestive system is seen in our body, and here as our body is complex, all the systems are arranged in a complex manner and works in a complex manner. Now let us see the digestion process or the nutrition in human beings. So as we know that we have a complex digestive system, many parts are present in the digestive system, and it starts from mouth and ends with anus. From mouth to anus, our digestive system is a long tube-like structure, And here in different parts of the digestive system, different functions will perform, and also different juices, digestive juices and different digestive enzymes are released in different parts of the digestive system. Now let us see what are the different parts of the digestive tract or digestive system, and where different juices are produced, and where different enzymes are produced, and how the complex process of digestion occurs in this digestive tract we can observe. From mouth to anus, the digestive system is a long tube-like structure. It is called as alimentary canal, or it is also called as gut, or it is also called as a digestive tract. Digestive tract. So there are three names for the long tube-like structure of digestive system. One is alimentary canal or gut, or we can say it as a digestive tract. And now let us see the different parts of the alimentary canal and where the process of digestion occurs, and how it will be absorbed into the blood, and how the waste materials will be eliminated out from the digestive tract. Our human digestive system consists of various parts. Now let us see that parts. It starts from mouth. Okay, it starts from mouth. Inside the mouth, a cavity is present called as a oral cavity or buccal cavity. What it is? Mouth cavity or oral cavity or buccal cavity. And here after the mouth cavity, we can see a junction for both the digestive system and respiratory system called as a pharynx. And here from the pharynx, next part is called as esophagus. The next part that opens from the pharynx is called esophagus. So here esophagus opens into stomach, and stomach is a bag-like structure which consists of two parts. Here the upper part of the stomach is called as cardiac stomach, and the lower part of the stomach is called as pyloric stomach. And then stomach opens into small intestine. It has three parts. The first part of small intestine is called as duodenum. The first part of the small intestine is called as duodenum, and into this duodenum, into the first part of the small intestine called duodenum, two main glands which are responsible for the digestion process are connected. So what are those two glands which are connected with the duodenum? Let us see now. Here the largest gland, that is called as liver. Liver opens into the duodenum, and then pancreas. What it is? Pancreas. These two are the digestive glands that opens into the duodenum. And then next to this duodenum, the small intestine is highly coiled, and the next to the duodenum is called as jejunum. Jejunum. And the next part of the small intestine is called as ileum. These three parts together called small intestine. The first one is duodenum, and the next coiled part is jejunum, and then finally the small intestine ends with ileum. And these three parts together called small intestine, and then small intestine opens into the large intestine. This is the large intestine. Like small intestine, large intestine also has three parts. One is where the small intestine opens into the large intestine, that part is called as a cecum. Cecum. And then colon. Colon. This totally is called as a colon. And then rectum. And then rectum. This rectum opens outside through anus. These are the different parts of the digestive tract. Understand? So from mouth, then buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, these three, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, together called small intestine, and this small intestine opens into the large intestine, and then the last part of the large intestine is the rectum. That rectum opens outside through anus. These are the different parts of the digestive tract. Now, various kinds of food we take into the digestive tract, and that food materials are to be digested into simple substances which are useful to give energy in the body. Now, let us evaluate today's content. What is meant by heterotrophic nutrition? Name the three types of heterotrophic nutrition. What are the examples of saprophytic nutrition? What is meant by parasitic nutrition? Explain parasitic nutrition in Cuscuta. What type of nutrition is seen in amoeba and paramecium? Name the finger-like projections seen in amoeba. What type of nutrition is seen in human beings? Name the different parts of alimentary canal in human beings. Thank you.